Their address concerning the events in Ukraine was a televised address by the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, on Monday, February 21, 2022, announcing that the Russian government would recognize the independence of the Ukrainian separatist regions of the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. The speech began with Putin stating that the situation in Donbass has reached a critical acute stage, and that Ukraine is not just a neighboring country for us, it is an inalienable part of our own history, culture and spiritual space. Putin made a number of claims about Ukrainian and Soviet history, including stating that modern Ukraine was created by the Bolsheviks in 1917, as part of a communist appeasement of nationalism and ethnic minorities in the former Russian Empire, and accused Bolshevik party leader Vladimir Lenin of apparently detaching Ukraine from Russia, and claiming that Joseph Stalin had failed to remove what he termed odious and utopian fantasies inspired by the revolution from the constitution of the Soviet Union, and that these so-called mistakes, as well as the decentralization and democratization brought about by Mikhail Gorbachev's reforms in the late 1980s, led to both the dissolution of the Soviet Union and their collapse of the historical Russia. Putin argued that post-Soviet Russia provided assistance to other post-Soviet states, including taking on the entirety of the Soviet Union's sovereign debt. However, he claimed that Ukraine continued to claim a share of the Soviet Union's gold reserves and foreign assets, and the Ukrainian government has wished to continue to enjoy privileges associated with close ties to Russia, while remaining free from any obligations. Putin also claimed Ukraine had used its ties with Russia as a threat to blackmail the West into giving it preferential treatment. Following that, he then said that post-Soviet Ukraine was infected with the virus of nationalism and corruption, branding the 2014 Revolution of Dignity a coup that was led by Western powers that plunged Ukraine into civil war. He then said that the Ukrainian government had enacted laws discriminating against Russian-speaking Ukrainians, and claimed that Ukraine was preparing its military for hostilities against Russia, including intending to create nuclear weapons and allowing a buildup of NATO forces on Ukrainian territory. Putin further stated that Ukraine joining NATO is a direct threat to Russia's security, and that NATO had failed to uphold promises not to expand into Eastern Europe. He then stated that Ukraine was failing to uphold the Minsk agreements, and as a result, it was necessary to take a long overdue decision to recognize the independence of the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic, and that a treaty of friendship and mutual assistance with the two regions would be signed. Finally, he ended the 56-minute speech by calling for the Ukrainian government to immediately stop hostilities, and made threats of serious consequences. This was likely a reference to the invasion of Ukraine on the Thursday of that week. The speech was met with widespread shock, with the British newspaper, The Guardian's foreign correspondent, Sean Walker, writing that Putin appeared genuinely angry and passionate in his speech, and described it as an angry, rambling lecture. Putin's claim that Ukraine was created by Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks following the 1917 Russian Revolution was met with skepticism. Serhiy Plakhy, a professor of Ukrainian history at Harvard University, said that it was a bizarre reading of history, and that even a cursory acquaintance with the history of the Russian Revolution and fall of the Russian Empire that accompanied it indicates that the modern Ukrainian state came into existence not thanks to Lenin, but against his wishes and in direct reaction to the Bolshevik coup in Petrograd in October 1917. A report by 35 legal and genocide experts cited Putin's address as part of laying the groundwork for incitement to genocide, such as denying the existence of the Ukrainian there.